time about what the purpose might have been. But this is what prosecutors in their filing. The defendant's own words make clear that his intent is to improperly influence the jury pool in this criminal proceeding. During other calls, the defendant makes clear his intention to anonymously publish information that he thinks will help his defense in this case. And then there's a portion that is redacted, but it also continues. The defendant's efforts to obstruct the integrity of this proceeding also include relentless efforts to contact potential witnesses, including victims of his abuse, who could provide powerful testimony against him. For example, on October 4th, 2024, in a call involving the defendant and one of his adult sons, the defendant says, and then again, it's redacted, and then they write, provides the clear inference that the defendant's goal is to blackmail victims and witnesses either into silence or providing testimony helpful to his defense. So Bradford, in other words, they're saying, A, they have him on tape saying, I want you to put forward this social media content to help my defense. And B, communications about him trying to reach out to people in the case and maybe using his family? Now, what do you think about that?
So those are two different things. The first part of it about him reaching out about social media, I don't put much weight into it. I think it's something that every defendant that's popular will do. It's something that every defendant that is popular has done. When you have, these allegations, and there's certain allegations that, this guy's a bad guy, you're going to have social media saying that he's a good guy. And whether or not it is orchestrated by the defendant or orchestrated by a PR team, it makes no difference to me. The second part of that, if he's trying to reach out to witnesses, that's the part that, obviously is probably their strongest argument, right? If they have witnesses that are willing to come in or people that are willing to testify to say, hey, listen, he gave me XYZ in order to say XYZ, that's completely different. I don't think they have that, because if they did have that, I think they would be charging for every single witness that he has tried to do. The government is not just going to sit back and be like, oh, he paid that guy, we're not going to charge him for that. They're going to charge him for every single little thing that he has done or has attempted to do. So they, just not one count of obstruction. They could hit him with 10 counts of obstruction for every witness. I just don't know if that's what they have. I don't put a lot of faith in the allegations from the government when I have seen in my career those allegations fall short of what they're actually saying in those documents.
And I guess if they don't charge his family members or people that, he's charged with racketeering conspiracies, accused of reaching out to alleged co-conspirators too. If the government doesn't charge any of those people, what does that tell you? And by the way, should we anticipate charges against, family members if this is what's happened, if this is what the government's alleging?
If the government actually has the goods on this obstruction, then there would be no reason not to charge them. But the problem is that I don't think they actually have the goods. I think that what they're really looking at is that individuals might have reached out to him to say, hey, listen, this XYZ happened to me. I'm going to file a civil lawsuit. I'm demanding $50,000. And it could be that they're settling civil lawsuits, and the government always feels when you settle a civil lawsuit that is under the guise of buying off a witness. That's always been their position. Doesn't matter what case it is, doesn't matter who you're representing. If there is a civil lawsuit that is pending or a civil lawsuit that could be filed that a potential witness says, hey, I want to settle and I want XYZ amount of money, and you give it to them, the government's position is always you gave it to them to buy their silence or to change their testimony. That's just the way that it always is in every case that I've ever had, and in every case that I've ever read about in terms of federal witnesses that also file civil lawsuits.
Bradford, I got to ask you about this part, because prosecutors say, they write this, quote, then after the defendant was in custody, BOP investigators recovered the following notes from the defendant's cell during a pre-planned nationwide sweep of BOP facilities. The strong inference to be drawn from the defendant's communications with witness 2, and I'll explain later on who that is, and his personal notes is that the defendant paid witness 2 after she posted her statement. So Bradford, first, we had reported that there was this sweep by the feds of the MDC, and maybe those notes were a part of what they discovered. But then Sean Combs' team has just responded in their own filing today. And they write, defense counsel has recently learned that the prosecutors are in possession of attorney-client privilege material, including the defendant's own written notes. This search and seizure are in violation of Mr. Combs' 4th, Fifth, and Sixth Amendment rights. Moreover, the targeted seizure of a pretrial detainee's work product and privileged materials created in preparation for trial is outrageous government conduct amounting to a substantive due process violation. Because the prosecutors are currently in possession of privileged material and are actively using this material to detain the defendant, the defense requests an immediate evidentiary hearing. Two sides to this, Bradford. What do you think?
I side with the defense. As usual, I side with the defense. Not always, but in this case, to me, it really is outrageous that they're using his notes. And if it's work product, which I believe that it is work product, I don't think they should be able to. Think about this. They're going into cells and they're looking for usually weapons, illegal items, things that you shouldn't have, phones, cell phones and tablets, things that are snuck into the jail, drugs. And here he probably has a pile of paperwork or notebooks, and they start going through each notebook and reading them and determining whether or not these notes should be used against them in a court of law. It really is one of those positions where why you don't want your client in a jail situation, why you want him bonded out, because while he's in jail, if they can just do this, how do you contact your client? How do you give him paperwork? How do you give him certain things from your law office? How does he take notes to discuss with you the next time he's going to see you?
You know what? At this point, they don't care. This is not a regular case. This is so high profile, they don't care. They don't care about violating his rights. I mean, to a degree. I mean, they got to stay within the scope of the law. But what they will and can get away with, they'll do it. Because right now, you're a scumbag of the earth. And, I just saw, what's that, the Lionel B show, where the girl that was on the table, she's saying that Bill Cosby put a cigar out on her arm. J-Lo was putting glass up in her vagina, and they was ramming a dildo up in her to the point that she jumped up off the table and ran out. And they saying allegedly, all of this is allegedly, but she's saying this on Lionel B show. So I'm saying allegedly because I wasn't there. She's saying that she stabbed Kris Jenner. What is it? Kris Kardashian, the Kardashian mother. She stabbed her in the shoulder with the corkscrew that she picked up when she jumped up off the table. Because y'all need to see that. That joint is like crazy. And then she went on to say that she's alluding to they go to these foreign countries and get these kids to sacrifice them. To beat on them, to kill them, I remember hearing something allegedly that some gay politician, white man, and I think it was from the guy Pharaoh. He had a recording. I don't know who recorded it. Maybe he recorded it and gave it to somebody, and somebody leaked it or whatever. One of the kids that I guess he was molesting or sex, what they say are in, this must have been an old politician, man. And he was just, from the audio that I heard, he was like real tripping off of the young boy looks. He put him in a shower and turned it on hot and was like scolding him. And you could hear the video of the kid screaming, "Oh, you're not so good looking now. You're not so good looking now. You think you're hot shit." Like, angry with him because of his youth. It was crazy, man. I'm gonna end this with this. This is gonna be a short one for now. Stay prayed up, man, because the demonics, the demons, and the satanic is out here and they among us. And your sword is your faith. Your sword is that Bible. Your sword is your alertness and reflexes. Anything that opposed to be a threat to you, and that goes for anybody or anything. Stay prayed up, man. That's it. We're in a spiritual war as well as war of society and mankind. Society and mankind. We're truly living in the Hunger Games in a modern day time. Only the strong will survive, and the only the strong gonna survive, and only the resourceful is gonna survive. Align yourself with, strategic individuals, and therefore, this is how we're gonna win day to day. You know, we gotta think short term, but then have a long term plan. But it starts day to day until you get the resources and of all kinds to look long term. But the fight is close and near and in distance and in your space, and that's day to day. All right, I'll be back at y'all soon. Let's go.